how do you feel about some of the PSB to compete with the 3DS, man? I heard they're strong. Exactly. I heard they're a pretty good competitor, man. Heard they're right there in your coattails, man.
They are pretty good competitors, but not for us.
Maybe for the engage, Maybe for the engage, but
good.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Sam Croal, an official Nintendo spokesman. We would like to thank him for being here today. We're just months away from E3, and for Nintendo's loyal fans, we would like to whet the appetite just a little bit with a little roundtable we have going right now. We have with us Fabian Singleton, and my name is Andre Turner, and let's start it off. Fabian?
Refer to this monkey.
Yes, before we start gamer tag, because we're all gamers here.
Drunkmonkey 187. Yeah,
Mr. Cole.
C4 Platinum on 2 consoles, and I can put a free code up, give it to them later on if you want to reach me on the 3DS or the Wii.
Look at the bottom of the screen for the awesome link that this fine gentleman will use. Yeah. And my name on Xbox Live is Siuoffo Shinhan. Mr. Monkey, how about you start off for us?
Man. Well, first of all, Mr. Cole, I mean, we're pre-E3. Man, how you feeling? Just how you feel that Nintendo stacking up to be competitors? Microsoft and Sony. As a gaming company. As far as their big next gen systems.
Well, I mean, as far as next gen goes, we're pretty much we're out the gate first. So we're not really comparing ourselves to what those two are going to do. We're basically trying to make sure that our console is going to be there for the long haul, and they can try to catch up when they get around to it.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Cole,
I feel good about our console. I mean, trust me, there's a lot going on that a lot of people don't know right now.
Awesome.
Okay, with you about catching up, I would like to refer back to the Wii versus the PS3 and also the 360 in the graphical department. Mm-hmm. We know that the Wii itself really wasn't pushing it anything higher than 480i, which for today's standards is pretty laughable to say the least. What would you say about the transition from the Wii going to the Wii U? Is the graphical content going to be there?
Well, first I want to go back to the comments you made about the 480i and that being laughable.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that console came out in 06. Mm-hmm. In 06, HD TVs were fairly new at the point. And even the best HD TV that was out only did 720p to begin with. And our console actually did 480p, which very few people could even use that. So there was no sense in us putting HD in the console back then when only 1 out of every 150 people had an HD TV. You know what I'm saying? It made no sense to charge you for that. That's why Sony and Microsoft was taking all those losses for so many years. And if I'm not correct, I mean, I believe Sony still hadn't even made a profit off the PlayStation 3 yet. So, I mean, it made no sense to make you guys pay for that and have to pay license for DVDs when everybody had a DVD player. I mean, heck, you can go to a Dollar General and get a DVD player. But as far as graphics goes, I mean, the thing was 3 times more powerful than the GameCube. I mean, what else did you need? Clearly, at the beginning of the life cycle, nobody needed a PlayStation 3 for $600 and nobody needed an Xbox 360 for $400. But that's all I have to say about that right now. So.
Okay.
But it did do 480p, it wasn't just 480i, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry for the mistake, but with you saying about letting the competition catch up to you, mm-hmm. with your comment about back then TVs and not people having the means to get them, should Nintendo have foreseen that a household would have at least one high definition television?
At the moment, when HD TVs came out, like I said, half of them wasn't even doing 1080p, and even the cheapest ones you get that only did 720p was just stupidly overpriced. I mean, even from cheap folks you never heard of, like Apex, wanted $500 and $700 for a TV. At that point, that seemed laughable. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not only are we going to sit there and charge you for something that not even everyone has, but we're going to charge you off the fact of something that might be. You know what I mean? And then you got to think about it now. It's 2012 now. It's 2012, and the only reason most people got HD TV now is because they don't make standard TVs no more. That's the only reason why it's a big deal. And then when you sit there and you think about it, Microsoft and Sony don't even give you HDMI cables with their new consoles that's out now. they give you an AVI cable, and you want to talk about it. I mean, you got a high power, high definition system, and that's your main push. But right out the box, you get an AV cable.
Well, I think the fans would, be willing to pay that difference if they were true fans of the system. But let's move on from that. Mr. Monkey here is an avid classic fighter and first-person shooter, third-person shooter. So how do you think the Xbox 360 and PS3 hold up on online gaming as far as first-person shooter, third-person shooters such as Gears of War, an awesome, exclusive title from Microsoft and from Epic.
From Epic. Paid for by Microsoft.
Wow. Compared to what like first-person shooter comparison right now?
Well, just the online connectivity and the accessibility of online play.
Well, honestly, as far as online gameplay, I want to give that edge, in my opinion, to Microsoft due to the fact that just gameplay-wise, you don't have to, you don't get too many just bad complaints. Well, this game server is so bad, and, whoop-de-woo and all that good stuff. The only thing, though, compared to PS3, Xbox gets shafted on a lot of, exclusive content that I feel that they should have had. Like, prime example, we have Street Fighter Cross Taken. PS3 has, about maybe 4 or 5 extra exclusive characters only for their system. And it's not the first time it's happened either. As to where a lot of fans like myself, I'm sitting here like, okay, PS3 has Cole, Mega Man, Pac-Man, and these other little, critters. Why don't we have like Marcus Phoenix or some exclusive Xbox? Why don't we have Master Chief on a fighting game? I mean, we had a Spartan on Dead or Alive, but it wasn't Chief, So, all in all, it's more or less based upon how the fan wants to rate it as far as like quality over quantity. And I'm a quality person, so I stick with Xbox.
Okay, but we go back to Nintendo here, and we go back to Nintendo, and we really haven't seen too much online content for the Wii itself, or more to say for the fans. There isn't really anything on the Wii that can be considered easily, connectable. I see you have a different opinion. How would you like to rebuttal?
Pokemon Battle Revolution, Mario Strikers Charged, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Mario Kart Wii, and we don't have nothing online. Monster Hunter Tri. We don't have nothing easily accessible online, or you don't have a system. Or you don't have internet. I mean, which one is it? Because don't bring that to me, because we got plenty of games that are easily accessible online. Hell, you can't even. The Wii Shop is online. Netflix is online. We got that. I mean, so what are you talking about?
Netflix is also on the PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah, now you want to pay for it on 360, or you want to pay for it for the month like you do normally?
True.
These were the PlayStation, they don't charge you for it, even though they update it every week.
Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Xbox 360, PS3 are trying their best to come out with new intellectual properties. They're trying to shake it up, bring up new games. But Nintendo is getting kind of stale. Everybody's playing Mario, everybody's playing Metroid. I know if it's not broken, don't fix it. But at the same time, if you follow that same concept, things are going to get a little bit stale. I'm pretty sure, Drunkmonkey over here can enjoy a game of Tetris or, a game of Mario here and there, but it's all about keeping everything fresh for the players and for the fans.
But
what do you...
That's interesting. You say keeping it fresh and, coming up with new concepts and stuff. If Mario hadn't been keeping it fresh for the last 25, going on 26 years now, we wouldn't have a Galaxy. You wouldn't have a Super Mario Bros. You wouldn't have Super Mario Meat coming out. You wouldn't have Galaxy. You wouldn't have Sunshine. You wouldn't have 64. I mean, you wouldn't even have the third dimension if it wasn't for Mario innovating and coming up with something fresh, new concepts. That's what I don't understand that about so-called gamers, especially these so-called hardcore gamers. You claim you want good games all the time, but you want us to do something fresh. We do that. We change the game, literally flip it upside down, and somebody's still complaining. You're never going to be happy.
And on that note right there, sir, about hardcore gamers, the Wii had a bad tendency to stay to the kid, to the teen rating. I myself, enjoy Kirby and Mario, but like I said, it's content driven. Like I said, Drunkmonkey. I mean, I'm tired that the chainsaw the fell from the back. Blood whipping on the screen. See, look at that face. That face tells you that he's done it plenty of times. Blood and gore, sex and drugs, it sells. It's not a good thing to push on children, but for, like I say, for the mature gamer, it's what they want.
That's why we have EPR ratings, though. Right. That's why you have rated E for everyone all the way to A for adults. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as that goes, this is where I stand from a first party standpoint.
Okay.
Our first party titles are there to sell the hardware. That's what they do. Our Marios make you go out and get them systems. Our Zelda, hardcore game, makes you go out and get that system. Metroid, another hardcore game which people tend to forget about. Kirby, he's everybody. Because Kirby games aren't your little walk in the park games. They get ignorantly tough. You know what I'm saying? And the list just goes on and on as far as our first person titles, but the thing that gets me is people say, okay, like you just said, Gears of War. We don't have Gears of War. But Gears of War is an exclusive. And we don't control that, but the other third parties, the games that they make, they could easily put it on there. So my thing is, why do gamers always try to bring it to Nintendo? When we do our job, we give you our first party games, and we try to give them out to you as regularly as possible. I mean, we're not making Call of Duties every other year. That's not what we do. We don't have 400 people working on one game. We have a skyscraper to about 10 stories working on several of our franchises at one time. We have so many franchises that we had to outsource to people like Retro, like Next Level Games up in Canada. That's because we have a lot of content that we can't even get our hands on all of it at the same time. But you got people like Capcom. Now, they put out a lot of crap. But people forget we actually get a lot of good games too. Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Pretty much the best fighting game that came out this generation. Unless you want to count, DLC and stuff like that, which is old games to begin with. But as far as this generation goes, the best fighting game is on the Wii. Now, mind you, it's better in Japan than it is over here. But then again, that's something that we did not control. They decided to water that game down when it came over here. So my thing is, why don't gamers get on their third parties? If they want these third parties to support the system so much, and they love Nintendo like they claim, then you should be down your third parties, church. You should be down their throat. You should be telling them, it's not acceptable for you to sit here and put a game out on this console and not bring it to the system that I want to play it on. Even if like graphics is a problem, okay, lower your textures on it, put it on the game. As long as that game plays the same, I mean, look at Conduit. That's first person shoot. Plays like a dream. It's an adult game. Now not adult rating, but it's a mature title that people can play. But the third party has to develop games. If they don't do that, we can't sell them to you. Bottom line. But people also forget too, this console generation, the Wii has over 45 titles that sold over me. That's just in the US alone. That's more than other two consoles combined.
Okay. Well, some third parties would say they wouldn't want to downgrade and blemish the overall standard of the game just to put it on one console, but we'll move on from there. Let's see here. Third 3D titles. Have you played any 3D games?
No, just say. For the third parties that say stuff like that, normally I wouldn't say this, but that's stupid.
Okay. How is it stupid not to want to damage your product? So it's stupid for this reason alone. Number one, you don't have to damage your product. All you have to do is modify and optimize it for the system that you put it on, like any other game. I mean, you make a game for be cost effective if they spend so much time and money on a game and then have to spend additional time.
Okay, if it takes you 2 years to make a Call of Duty game with 400 people working on it, for basically the way they make games now is that they develop for the 360 and they import it over to the PS3. Right. They cosmetically adjust it. You got 400 people working on the game for 2 years. Some of them working so much that they get well over 80 hours to the point where they had to go sue for their money. And you got to think, most game designers get no less than $50,000 a year. So you would think it's more cost effective for you to have 400 people working on one game that may not even sell that good. Then of course the Call of Duty game is going to sell because everybody's going to go buy it anyway. But a lot of companies do that and they don't. And they do that for the sole reason that Hey, well, the Wii is not an HD system. Okay, Xbox 360 is an HD system. But you ain't sell $1 million. If you don't sell $1 million, you're not gonna make your money no way. And my thing is, why wouldn't you want to put a game on the Wii? We got almost 100 million consoles. That's double. That's those two together, and we still have more consoles out than both the competition together. 45 million Xbox 360s, 40 PS3s, and that's not counting all the red rings 360s that's still in that count for some reason, or the yellow light of death PS3s. So they probably don't even really have that many. You know what I mean? And then 100 million consoles down there. The money that you can make there if you put a decent game on the console. You don't want to take advantage of that. That's your problem. That's stupid. It's a gold mine sitting there for you. But third parties are lazy. That's why you got other people coming in making party games. And even though they're party games, people don't like that. They make them fun and people go buy them. That's why Mario Kart has sold over 30 million copies. And it's still, that's why it's in the Guinness Book of World Records right now. Because basically out of the 90-something million consoles that we have and about to reach 100 million, that means a third of the people got that game. They got that system. You're missing out. You don't want that money, that's on you. But Nintendo likes going to the bank every Monday and cashing that check.
Question. Just speaking of, the console, the war between the consoles, the handheld consoles. Well, device, the handheld device. Yeah. I actually am an owner of a Nintendo 3DS, so love it. PS Vita. It's been about maybe a month, 2 now. How do you feel
in the US
how do you feel the Vita stacks up to the 3DS as a competitor?
I hate to be overly arrogant or overly confident about that, but I don't see the Vita as any kind of competition. Not only for Nintendo, but I don't think it's competition for anybody. I mean, it's not even competition for the PSP. The PSP is outselling that thing.
I mean, but Sony they sunk a lot of money into this Vita, with the hopes that it's just going to beat out,
Yeah,
its predecessor.
It was an interesting strategy. What they went for, they tried to overpower us, but you can't overpower innovation. I mean, that can only go so far. I mean, graphics will get you to the game. It'll get you in there, but you're not gonna win with just graphics alone. I can show you, I can show you this picture right there. I mean, for instance, the Zelda demo from E3 last year. Beautiful looking game. If that game never comes out, then who cares? Or if that game comes out and it looks good, but it's not a Zelda game, fundamentally sound, not only would the gamers that claimed, we just want HD graphics, they would not care. They would try to crucify us. Same thing with Sony. I mean, you slap the Uncharted game on there, and sad thing, people want to talk about 3DS games are high. The highest game we got is $49. And that is a little high. But, because fans said something, Resident Evil dropped down. It's a regular title now, it's $39. So now the highest title we got is only $40. And a lot of people say, okay, $40 too high to play for a game like that, but you can get these, iPhone and iPad apps for 99 cents to, anywhere from $5 to $6. But those apps, we're trying to bring true gaming experiences. And that's one thing that the Vita is lacking right now is true gaming experiences. And it's trying to do a lot of copying, but our consoles and our handhelds are built from the ground up for those purposes. It's not just a tacked on feature. We didn't put AR in there.
Tacked on feature, as you mentioned, the PS Vita came with a standard, 2 analog control, D-pad. Tacked on is, you say no tacked on features, but yet the 3DS does have a tacked on feature, the expansion port bay, which gives you another analog. So that's kind of, mixing words when you say tacked on features, because that in itself is a tacked on feature.
No, it is not tacked on. It is an option. It's an optional. It is an accessory. It's for people that do not want to use the stylus. We give you a different way to play. Mm-hmm. If you choose, you want to say you got left-handed people, keyboards, you can play left-handed with that. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's totally necessary for the system. It wasn't necessary for us to put a second analog on there because of the touchscreen. The touchscreen can be used as another analog. It's needed in certain games like your first-person shooters. But you've also seen from the DS, you can play first-person shooters just fine. And you have the analog on the right side, which is perfect for you moving in 3D environments. Everything else is just move a camera. camera can be manipulated in many ways. You can use your button. You can pretty much map a camera anyway. You can do auto camera. There's multiple ways to get that done if you want to be creative. You know what I mean? And if I thought they gave you analog, that means that all the time that camera is going to be there with an analog. That doesn't mean it's always the best way to play. You know what I mean? So if we sit there and we do something like that and we give that to the developers, well, essentially what you're doing is creating a crutch. Now creativity is just stalling. You don't have to think no more. Now you can just map everything out. You just do status quo over and over and over and just keep shipping it out. But that's the thing gamers claim they don't want. They don't want the same status quo. They want things shaken up. They want it mixed up. They want variety. They want what they always wanted, but they want something new. They want that familiar feeling, but they want that excitement of something new. They always do. And then when you give them that, you're still not happy. And that goes back. Have you had any problems with Super Mario 3D Land? Did you try Kid Icarus Uprising?
Look.
You love it. And the main thing I heard about that was controls. You get used to them.
Yeah.
And if you don't get used to them, that's what you go into the option mode and you switch them around for. You make yourself comfortable. That's all it takes. I guess they're getting lazy nowadays.
Yes, adaptability is the number one feature that most companies do need to learn and abide by. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. We're going to take a slight intermission. Please remember to like the video, and we will see you next time. I just did that because it was like at 22. I didn't know how to do that.
Let me lie. Cut them up.
Was I jerky enough?